of our market that you find difficult to understand or maybe peculiar?
Yes, well, so like I said, we're operating in 15 markets selling wine right now, and we usually take them by size, but we had skipped over Brazil for a long time as Brazil was the second largest by downloads. So I would say that it looks like Brazil is a pretty complicated market to do wine e-commerce with taxes and shipping and stuff. So it has taken us a while to figure that out. So yes, it looks very complicated in that sense.
Can you expand on that? I mean, what challenges in terms of business you think the company face here?
Yeah, I think one of the things was taxes. We had to find partners in, I think, specific states to make sure they had the right tax rates and so on. And we just hadn't seen that anywhere else before. And shipping, and the prices are relatively high too. So all those business things that we didn't have a lot of challenges with in Europe. US is also very complicated. We had a lot of challenges with that here, but we're getting through them and launching now, which I'm very, very excited about.
And what a government must do in order to create the best environment for encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship?
Let me tell you, it's pretty simple. Get out of the way. I think that's very important. I think take a place like Denmark, which is actually a really good place to do business. It's actually high taxes on a lot of things, but there's very little bureaucracy actually. There's no corruption, and they really get out of the way a lot of the time. I think that's crucially important because I think that can be a big problem in some of these countries, that government is in the way and they shouldn't.
What do you think about Brazil with this in mind?
I honestly, I don't know the ecosystem that well, but what I hear, I can be a little bit worried. It feels like there's a little bit more bureaucracy than there should be. I can't really say, but that's what I get.
Is there a definite connection between price and quality? I mean, expensive wines are necessarily better than cheaper ones.
If you look at the entire picture, yes. But it doesn't mean that if you buy something for $20, it is going to be very good. It varies a lot. So if you look at the big picture, yes. So what we're all about is if you're willing to pay $7 for a wine, we want to get you the best wine for $7. But if you look at the big picture, there's clearly a connection. What's really interesting is to look at the higher you go, the more you pay. Like maybe if we have a 5-star rating, right? And maybe if you want to get a 4, you pay $20. But if you get to 4.1, it'll cost you $5 extra. But if you want to go from 4.4 to 4.5, it can be crazy. So the higher you go, the more you pay per extra rating. So yes, there's definitely a connection.
What is your favorite wine?
I never answer that question, you know that, right?
Oh, please.
So I live in California now, so I definitely drink quite a lot of the local Cabernet Sauvignon and Pinot. But I must say, and we had some, I really enjoy champagne too. And champagne in the widest like sparkling wine from all over. Today we were at a fantastic lunch place and actually had a local Brazilian sparkling, and it was really, really nice. So I really enjoy champagne or champagne-style wines too.
I've seen you mention speed as an important feature in a startup a few times. Can you explain what you mean?
Well, I think when we launched Vivino, there were actually 600 wine apps in the App Store. So it was a massive amount of different wine apps out there. And when you start doing that, it's all about focusing on what's most important and doing that fast. And the people that get the features that the users want out there fastest. If you can be the first one, you start getting more users. It can be really sort of self-enforcing. So I think speed is incredibly important if you want to win in a space like this. I think an important thing here is that when you get some kind of new technology and some kind of idea, it's very likely that somebody else had the same idea. If you look at the scooters here in Sao Paulo, it's clearly that it wasn't only one guy that got the scooter idea. There was like 20 companies that do the scooters. And the people that execute fast and make shit happen, they're probably going to win.
What were the important things you had to focus on?
For us, it was all about the data. For us, we figured out very, very quickly that the only thing that really mattered was if you're a user, I'm looking at one bottle of wine, I want to know if that bottle is good or bad. That's the only thing that matters to me. So for us, it was all about building the data about the wines that people drank. So we spent all our energy on that and not as much on design and all those other things, like just data. And I think that's one of the reasons why we won.
Does the Brazilian consumer or user have any distinctive feature in comparison to other markets?
Yes. All the markets are very, very different. First of all, so it's very different what people drink in every market. Here, Chile, Argentina, and Portugal are the most popular wines. Obviously in the US, it's very different. One thing we noticed here in Brazil, which I do remember, was that we have some social features where you can like and comment and so on. So for some reason, it was very, very popular in Brazil actually to add comments and like. So whereas the social features were not very popular around the world, they were extremely popular here in Brazil.
Social features.
Yeah, actually, it's like an Instagram with wine, and it hasn't been a big part of our product, but it was here. So that's, I think, is quite interesting. Apart from that, Brazil is our second largest market when it comes to downloads. So US is our biggest, and Brazil is number 2. We have 3.1 million downloads here. Brazil is just a very early adapter for Vivino.
And unlike the Europeans and the Argentinians, Brazilians don't have a strong tradition regarding wine.
No.
I think beer seems to be the favorite beverage.
Yeah.
What is it like to operate in a market like this?
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because I think that's one of the reasons why we were successful. It was because wine was relatively new here and people wanted to learn. And that's why they installed Vivino, was because, hey, I don't know that much about wine, but I want to learn more. And I think that's one of the reasons why we were so successful here.
And what makes the consumer to use the app? What is it that they like about it?
So I think it's the same thing as that got me started to build this app. And that's walking into a supermarket or a restaurant and seeing all these wines and not knowing what to buy. I felt like I walk into a supermarket, see all these wines, and what the heck do I buy? And I think that's the core reason why people use Vivino. They can take a picture of any bottle of wine and will tell you if it's good, it's bad, what's the price, where can you buy it, and what does it taste like.
How do you assure that reviews are made by real people, not, for example, by bots?
We're very fortunate that we have seen very little sort of misuse of bots, but we've seen a little bit, and honestly, it hasn't been that hard to find. Like doing a rating on Vivino, it's a little bit difficult. You have to make a user, you have to scan a bottle of wine, and then you have to rate it. So it's a little bit cumbersome to do, but we keep an eye on bots and misuse all the time. And I think in the future, as this rating becomes more and more important, we're going to see more and more of that. So we have all kinds of methods that I'm not going to tell you about that we do to try and avoid that.
How is the company monetized? How do you make money?
So in Brazil, we have not made one single real or dollar yet, and that's going to change very soon. Vivino is a completely free app to use, but we're now, we have monetized in 15 markets now, mostly in North America, US and Canada, and Europe, and somewhat in Asia, which means you can buy through the app. So you go through the app and you see an amazing wine, you can buy it, and then we get a commission, whatever is sold through there. That's how we make our money.
But you won't have stores, you will be like a marketplace.
Exactly, we're a marketplace working with the local wine stores here in Brazil.
What are the plans, besides this one, for the app this year in terms of investment or the service itself?
I think obviously the opening the new markets like Brazil is very exciting. One of the things that we really want to focus on is improving the recommendations. If you look at the app now, we're getting really good at figuring out what a wine tastes like. So we recently released something called taste characteristics, which means that every single wine we have, like, is it bold or what does it taste like? And our idea is that we're going to map every single wine in the world and then all the people that drink wine and then build recommendations on that. So we think that something that over the next year is going to come is building amazing recommendations like it's never been done before, which matches your exact taste.
What is your advice for building a successful career?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, for me, I always want to do something that I love. So everything I do, I have a passion about. I think not everybody can get that, but if there's a way for you to work with something you like and you're passionate about, then you're much more likely to be successful. And I'm sure you like this job here. You're interviewing me and we got cameras and all kinds. It's amazing, right? But having a passion for what you do, if you can get that, you should definitely go for it. My philosophy is also that whatever opportunities you get, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to sit if I get old. At one point, hopefully I do, and I'm not going to tell my kids or grandkids about the things I didn't do. I want to tell them about the things I did, and even the things that I failed at. I'd rather fail at something than not do it.
And would you have done anything different in your life, in your career?
How much time do we have? Yes, I think plenty. So for me, I'm always looking ahead. So my philosophy is really make any decision a good decision, which means that, I'm full aware that this was not a good move, but now we are where we are, and look ahead and make that a good decision. That's always my philosophy.
Wow.